We all know the term bra burning feminists, but what about hair cutting one? Ironically, the bra burning didn't really happen, whereas women were really cutting their hair as a feminist statement, both in the West and in China at the turn of last century. And in China particularly, it became intensely political. So why do we remember the bra, something that's usually hidden under women's clothes, but not the hair, which everyone could see? Maybe it tells us something about how we remember women's history. The sensational image survives better than the representative ones. And hair in China was especially political. If you watch my previous video about Le Maire cute cutting, you remember that cutting hair in Chinese history has already become a statement of rupture. For women, cutting their hair became another kind of rupture, this time with traditional expectations of womanhood. By the early 20th century, short hair became associated with the new women, educated, modern, independent. And it wasn't merely symbolic. In 1916, the Republican government of China ordered schools not to allow female students to cut their hair, with those who did facing expulsion. But a decade later, the politics had flipped. By the 1920s, short hair was increasingly associated with the liberated, educated, modern women. And by 1927, the haircut had become so politicized that it could identify your presumed political allegiance. During a counter-revolutionary backlash, some warlords reportedly used a cropped hair as a visible marker to identify suspected revolutionaries. Women with short hair were among those targeted and killed. But almost at the same time, the politics could work in the opposite direction. There were accounts of revolutionary female activists forcibly cutting the hair of village women who refused to cut theirs. Think about that. Within little more than a decade, a Chinese woman could be punished for cutting her hair, pressured for not cutting her hair, and even killed because she had cut her hair. The politics may have changed, but women's body was still political territory. And in one tragic incident, a group of more than 30 village women who resisted cutting their hair fled together in a boat. The boat capsized in bad weather. They drowned. And I think this is where this story becomes much more complicated than just short hair equals to feminism equals to empowerment. The haircut had become political proof. Something that began as a woman's right to reject traditional expectation could itself become another expectation imposed upon other women. And that's a danger where any movement turns a symbol of liberation or empowerment into a test of ideological purity. And eventually, if taken too far, becomes coercion. So maybe all the more we should remember the haircut of feminists, because its history reminds us that liberation means very little when the choice is no longer yours.